Most app developers probably don't know just how valuable their app is from an investor's perspective. From the investor's point of view, apps are some of the most sought after businesses to acquire for reasons that we'll get into in a little bit. So in this video, we're gonna go over why investors are buying apps, specifically Shopify apps, what they look for in those apps when making those acquisition decisions, and what you can do to maximize your valuation if you are an app owner to the 6 and 7 figure level. So let's get into it. So one of the first questions you might ask, if you are an app founder and you're making cash flow from that, why would you want to even sell that app? Well, I actually interview business owners who list their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. And one of the questions that I ask is, why are you deciding to sell the business now instead of keeping it and growing it? And interestingly, there are usually a handful of answers that I get. It's either I want to use the capital towards another business that I'm working on, or I'm starting a family, or to be able to invest in a house. Or one of the other things that I hear often is I have really enjoyed building the business. I enjoyed the bringing the vision to life phase, but I don't actually enjoy the operations and the scaling phase, which is perfect because from an investor's point of view, they actually prefer the operating and scaling after a business has already reached its product market fit. Now, why do buyers buy Shopify apps or apps over the other business models that they could buy on the Empire Flippers platform? So they could buy e-commerce businesses in the form of Amazon FBA or Shopify, or content sites or ebooks or audiobook businesses. Well, Shopify apps in particular, if you think about it kind of like how e-commerce business owners will sell on Amazon FBA to get their products in front of a high volume of traffic, Shopify developers or app developers will sell so that they can already have their app in front of a marketplace who's willing to purchase that app. So visibility to a high volume of traffic is the first thing. Now, apps in particular are highly sought after acquisitions because you can think about this kind of like an app being a digital product, like an ebook or an audiobook. But unlike an ebook where a customer is usually only going to purchase one of that book, you have this recurring payment system where a customer is continuously using this product. And usually the majority of the costs for building a SaaS business or an app are upfront when you're building the product. So there's lower overhead cost once you're in the operations and the scaling phase. So if you've built an app, that's wonderful, but it doesn't guarantee that buyers will be competing to outbid each other to acquire your business. Your business does have to have certain characteristics that make it an attractive acquisition. So what do buyers look for? The first are strong fundamentals. So a business should be well aged. It should have at least enough history so that a buyer can look back at that business and just see the overall trajectory, see if there are any spikes or dips, any seasonality, if the business is generally on an incline or a decline. And second, it's best if the product is in an evergreen niche. So this could be something like pet care or home or automotive. So something where a buyer will acquire this feeling confident that this isn't a fad, that this is going to continue to be relevant to customers for years to come. And third is more on the seller side, but if a seller comes into this with a certain expertise or experience in this industry, they're more inclined to purchase this business because they understand the competition better, they understand the market, or they know how to grow the business. Next are the business's operations. So specifically, you want a business that is easy to run and it's well organized. So you do that by creating SOPs for all of your processes and hiring out when you're able to. So once you have established product market fit and you're in the operation mode, being able to outsource some of the work in order to reduce the amount of time that you spend in the business is going to be important for buyers who are looking to take over that role. Most buyers, they don't want a full-time job. They're looking to acquire something as passive as possible. So if you are currently working 20 hours or more in your business, you're gonna have a hard time finding a buyer. So I would say that a sweet spot is that 10 hours or less mark for how much time you're actually spending in the business. And next, you want to consider other performance metrics that are specific to apps. So these would be metrics such as downloads, active users, churn, ratings, or cart abandonment statistics. Next, let's talk about how to increase the valuation of your business. So a business is valued by two variables. One is the monthly net profit that you're generating, and two is the valuation multiple. So for monthly net profit in the SaaS space, you can do that by increasing the number of integrations with other apps on the Shopify marketplace so that a customer can now use one tool alongside the tool that you're trying to sell. Another option is creating educational content that doubles down as promotional content. So many SaaS businesses, they'll show YouTube videos or courses that show specific features of their business, which of course helps the customers, but it also increases awareness of the fact that your product has all of these features to drive in additional customers. And third is building a site off of Shopify. So by driving external traffic, you can do a lot of different things that you might not be able to do on the Shopify platforms, such as running ads or building an email list or certain marketing techniques that you wouldn't be able to do on that platform. The second variable, as I mentioned, is the valuation multiple. Now, this is a multiple assigned by our vetting team at Empire Flippers if you're working through a brokerage, and essentially they take that number, multiply that by your monthly net profit. This is an indication of the attractiveness to buyers. So those are the metrics that you'll want to focus on, those foundational components. So that's the age of the business, how much time you're spending on the business, the niche that you're in, the uniqueness of your product, or I guess more specifically, the defensibility. And there's a much longer list. We actually have a blog article on this topic, and I'll leave a link below if you want to read through that. So now that you've done what you can to maximize your valuation, the next question is about how you're going to sell. Well, really you have two options. One is to sell privately or sell through a brokerage. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the details of the pros and cons of that. I'll leave a link below to a video that our director of marketing, Greg, did about the pros and cons of selling privately or through a brokerage. If you are trying to make this decision, just know that there are a lot of different processes that go on behind the scenes that you might not even be aware of. And this includes things like organizing your financial information, valuing the business, finding potential buyers, negotiating with those buyers, closing the deal, migrating the business. These are all things that you'll have to do in conjunction with actually running the business to make sure that it still stays an attractive acquisition. Pretty much you'll potentially be making the exit much harder than it needs to be for you. For some people, the private deal might be the better option for them, but I would recommend speaking with one of our sales advisors first to just discuss what your goals are for selling the business, and see if you're even a good fit for our brokerage, and make that decision from that point. And I'll leave a link below. It's a free conversation and there's no requirement or pressure to sell with us if you decide it's not a good fit for you. And if you're interested in building a SaaS tool but you don't have any coding knowledge, well, check out this video here about no-code SaaS tools and how they're helping non-technical people become SaaS business owners. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.